Is this one? Oh, yeah. All right, guys. Hi, I'm Liv. I'm trying to take some social media content. Can we try to do a wave in the room? Like starting from this side to that side, like sitting in your seats or you can stand up. We'll do like a wave, like, like that. All right, let's do one practice wave really fast. Starting at this side, wave. And then over here. Oh, hey, yes, that's so perfect. I'm going to put this mic down.
Yeah. Hello?
Hey, everyone. Oh, wait,
No, you have to flick it on.
Hey, everyone.
See, there you go.
All right, let's get into this. So, who has already played under new management, huh? All right, yeah, we got a lot of people in the crowd. Awesome. So, without further ado, let's get into this. So, first, we're going to start off our panelist introductions. My name is Ro. I'm the project producer for Under New Management, as well as the marketing director for Under New Management. And essentially, my role is just coordinating the project team, directing the trailers, and the cutscene cinematics you've seen in game. As well as organizing the public playtest. And I guess a little fun fact about me is I guess the Foreman was modeled after me, it seems.
This is true.
So I'm going to be passing off over to Gabe.
Yes, hello. I am Gabe or Kelblock, take your pick. I've modeled all the Supervisor heads, all the accessories, and I've animated most of the new Supervisor animations and remastered nearly all the Cogs assets. And while, thank you. And while little tidbit about me, I practice a lot of 3D magic, and I love collisions a lot.
So we also have a third panelist who's attending digitally. I'm going to be introducing it to them now. Oh.
Alex.
All right, I'm gonna proceed, but when we get to their section of the panel, we're gonna see if they'll be able to introduce themselves. So I'm gonna get over into the update summary of the project for those who have no idea what Toontown's about or this update, but essentially we had a big problem and a lot of feedback of how do we make like the grind and the facilities of this game more entertaining? And our solution was just condensing the amount of facilities, having players do less of them, but just having it more engaging so it's not so repetitive, essentially. But now, before I go into the breakdown, I want to give a quick disclaimer. We're not going to be going too much into detail on the clerk and the club president in terms of developing them because we did that in last year's 2023 panel. So if you want to see more about that, please make sure to check that up on our YouTube channel. So without further ado, I'm going to be passing it off to Gabe to talk about the Factory Foreman.
Thank you, Ro. Thank you. Onward the Factory Foreman. So this right here is the original, my bad. This right here is the original personality and visuals provided by one of our former game designers. Take note of the visual description that we wanted him to have. A muscular body for his head to consist of smokestacks. Ah, yes. Yes. These lovely concepts were made by our concept artist, Munch. The left piece, I believe, is the very first one she made, which follows the original description of the Foreman. Pretty scary, but we felt it was a bit too much, so we toned it down to what's on the right. It will slowly come together, but we still felt, too much. But do note the human shape. Eventually, we ended up settling with what's in the center, using this as our foundation moving forward. Here's the relatively final product. The left is the finalized version of the Foreman, also the first Supervisor to have been finalized as whole. Taking the smokestack inspiration, we combined it with Judge Doom from Who Framed Roger Rabbit and the boss character from Paperman, a Disney animation short. The image on the right was his angry face for overtime. Note the taller forehead. Oh yes, these fun little things. These models on the left are testing heads I made. The suit on the right was made by the project's art director, Lost Hero, love him. With the written concepts in mind for muscular body, he took what was there and really ran with it. I'm a big fan personally, but we felt it strayed too far from the Cogs look, so we dialed it back a bit. Oh yes. The left is the final model, which as you can see is taking shape. The texture was a placeholder I made. On the right is Lost Hero tinkering with some ideas for the suit. Note the tie. Oh yes, this is. As you can see, we went back and forth deciding how big we want his forehead. Do we want it like on the left or the center? As a joke towards how much we were debating this. Our programmer, Rush, just stretched the forehead ludicrously, which you can see on the image. Thank you, Rush. Oh yes, here are the Foreman's animations, starting off with field promotion. Chop chop. I love this one. And next, we have the Foreman's overtime animation. Excuse me. Very happy with that one, personally. For the Foreman's overtime / enraged whistle, our sound designer, Noah, used a combination of tea kettle whistles and steam-trained whistles for the cartoony boiling over with anger sound. We wanted both the sound design and animation to be reminiscent of those stereotypical 1930s and 40s industrial factory cartoons. Very happy with the result. Ah, yes. And now on to the Cashbot Auditor. As noticed as a Foreman, its original description does deviate away from the final product a bit. Notice how originally there were plans for him to have a muscular body and a head that's representative of a lock on a safe. Here are the first concepts made of the Auditor by, again, Munch. The image on the left is representative of the description we had, but strayed away from it, as both this concept and the original description strayed away from the human design of the Cogs that made them so iconic. So we dialed it back and maintained that balance by both man and machine by going with the direction of the images using on the right. We made his head more reminiscent of like an auditing or cash register machine while maintaining a human-like face. We did try out some other fun changes, like a little mustache. Cute. On the right is actually the first head we made, which matched the concept of his face. We briefly tried what was there on the left, but then we ended up going back to what's on the right since we felt it was too low poly. Oh, yes. I love this suit. On the left is a scrapped variant of the Auditor suit. Notice how high quality it is. However, we noticed it didn't match the quality of the rest of the Cashbot, so we had to dial it back and ended up with the suit you see in the image on the right. Perhaps we'll see it one day. Maybe we'll remastered. I'd love to. Keep it going, yes. Oh, yes. Here are his animations. I acted these out, by the way. Let's start off with promotion. Oh, I love this one. So I was really short on time, and I had to put this animation together quickly. Always intending to revisit it, but when it was put on the playtest a few months back, people really, really loved it, especially when he points to the moon. So we ended up keeping it as a result, and I'm very happy with that. Here's the next one, market change. Oh man, little trivia about this one. We originally wanted to have him do animalistic roars and poses in order to match the literal bear and bull market themes. We decided it was too distracting for the auditor to do, and too much scope, and ended up taking this approach instead. For both the auditor's promotion and market change abilities, our sound designer Noah used a lot of jingling keys and coins in the sounds to keep identical with his metallic body and also to further allude to his association with money. Good old money. Yes. And of course, here's the clerk's sush animation. Roll it. So this animation is actually a slightly altered version of the existing cog animation used in attacks such as Evil Eye or Glower Power. All that was done was adjusting her hand and finger to do a hush position, same with the other arm. For the clerk sushing, sound designer Noah used modulated recordings of his own voice layered with the sound of steam valves to create the effect. Once again, finding the perfect balance between robotic and human elements of Cogs. Don't know how he did that. Oh yeah. So this is a scrap status effect for the club president. For those of you who remember for the playtest at last year's ToonFest, she originally had a status effect where she would retaliate from squirt and droll gags. We experimented with some textures of how she would look if hit by these droll or squirt gags. But when we changed the status effect, this got scrapped entirely. Yeah.
So I'm going to be going more into our status effects. So a lot of went through to actually change how our status effects looks in game, despite how simple they may look. We really just tried to find the core of simplicity and legibility. And you're really going to see that throughout all of these. Like delayed damage, like we started, oh, it's a club president, so let's do like her face and a flag. But that, like people were like, what does that mean? What does that do? So we're like, okay, we got to make it make sense visually. And for delayed damage, we did like the 5 and like the 5-to-1 symbol. But we realized, well, what if in the future someone else does this kind of status? And what if it's more than 5 rounds? What if it's less? So we decided to do something a little bit more simplistic, which is the hourglass. But that wasn't our final one. We actually really wanted to do like a stereotypical cartoonish like time bomb, like with the fuse, but we never got around to it, and we stuck with the hourglass. And Extra Turn was like, again, similar case, trying to make it more generic rather than themed with the club president. And we went through many iterations, and we ended up on a extra turn of a 1 finger. And in the future, if we ever do like a tuner or cog that gets 2 more attacks, they might hold up 2 fingers and things like that. And now here's some other ones. Off limits didn't change too much, and we realized we had a lot of symbols sharing that same shield that you'll see with the first version. So we tried to stray away from that with many others and ended up on a more asymmetrical X. Tenure, we actually, that was in the 2023 playtest of just the original X over it, tells it right away, but it wasn't our style. And we ended up on the final product over on the right. Objection didn't change too much for the clerk, and just we knew right away. It's like, okay, it's got to be a gavel. It's pretty great. Expendable is an interesting case because, like with the eagle, for example, we're like, nobody really knows what that means. We got to make it more allowing to understand that it revolves around Cogs. So that's why we turned it into that. Now this next one is pretty interesting. So,
I'm a big fan.
Yeah, silence is one of the clerk's abilities to prevent sound usage. And our programming director, Rush, quickly put together the first image as a very early placeholder. And right away, we didn't have like the art scope to get it in time for the playtest. But Rush kind of gave like one ultimatum saying, if you do not get us in time a better, like a prettier image, that will be in the 2023 playtest. And they were very quick to get something together, let's say that much. Yeah, and then same with gag immunity. We just kind of styled it up a bit. Moving over to the Mint Auditor, gag tax was an interesting one. We always knew we wanted to have something to do with like inventory, but we did experiment a little bit. We tried to do like a spoiled milk glass, like spilling over, like they're spoiling their riches, but we didn't really like that approach. Went back to the gag box and realized, wait, there's no gags, just make it empty. So we did the cartoonish like fly in the wallet, it's empty. Attentive looks similar, but this goes more into our legibility side of the goal of simplicity and legibility, where a lot of people didn't notice like that sliver in the middle of attentive, and we had to kind of keep going and deviate to just make it as obvious as possible that this lure is broken. And yeah, as an overall, here's like a summary of like how much like the first draft of a status effect would be to the last, and it just shows how much effort went through. Like again, the eagle, no one would know what the heck that means, but the laser scale cog kind of alludes to what it would be about. Now, I'm gonna see if Alex is able to tune in with us digitally.
Alex.
All right, one moment.
All right, should I try speaking again? See if it works. I don't know if anyone can hear me.
So actually, while we're waiting, Gabe, what's like your favorite part of this update so far?
Just getting to see everyone here. Sorry, one moment. It's just like the amount of weight I have in my chest, just seeing like everybody like here, like presenting and just watching us talk about like how he made these update is just, it's just really heartwarming to me. Like I really love like everyone here attending. Thank y'all. Seriously, it means a lot. Y'all are awesome. Stay tuning.
All right, I'm gonna try speaking again.
But I'm going to take over on this slide on behalf of Alex.
Okay, I'm gonna keep talking.
Essentially, we have in-game a crane room variant.
So,
essentially, as you know, in game, we wanted to have ways for toons to kind of practice their craning ability in the CFO. So we took that advice and added a variant into the new mint variations. And what you're seeing here is a very early scrapped variant where it wasn't behind glass and it was actually a part of the layout. But we had a lot of issues with like toons getting stuck in the mints, like other toons dropping vaults on the other toons and they get stuck. And we realized it was a little messy, so we had to put it all behind the glass. Moving on to pit rooms. When we did that mint crane room, the pit down below, we actually, for a time, had it as an ability to get down there with like different gags, barrels, and just like an elevator to get up and down. But we had to scrap that because, again, it just didn't match what we were going for, and we didn't calculate like, there are a lot of stuff goes behind scenes on like how many like gags are in every single facility. It's like down to a math, and so we decided to just remove that. All right. We're going to see if Alex can pick up now. Here we go.
Alrighty, I'm gonna try speaking again. Can the room hear me?
Hear him.
No? Okay. Darn.
No?
Well, he's with us in spirit. And actually, I do want to give a massive shout out for Alex again, who was our programming, our project programmer for the project. And
Yeah. Yeah, he's quiet. We can hear him, but he's quiet. Wait, can we? That would be funny if we could do that.
yeah, let's try it again. Alex, are you with us?
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, Alex. Yeah, take over.
Alrighty, so Bro already explained the crane room and the pit room, so I'm going to start right here with the battle maze room. When it came to the golf courses, because they're outdoors, we had to come up with ideas of what kind of room do we want to create, like what kind of outdoor space. So we were trying to come up with ideas of, like say, a maze, where you have to go and traverse the maze to get through. But it didn't actually end up coming to life because there isn't a lot of assets that are available for the outdoors version of CGCs. So it kind of ended up getting scrapped.
Introduce yourself for everyone in the audience.
And I am Weird Alex. I am one of the project programmers, as Rose said. And sadly, I could not be there, but thankfully they were allowing me to join from home.
You're awesome.
Another idea that we had was a oil fountain, like almost similar to the oil fountain in the spills room that we have currently in game. It was going to be a sprinkler that was moving back and forth in the room, so you had to avoid it as you go through the room. But it was decided on that the room would be too big and you could easily avoid the sprinkler. So we ended up just making the smaller room with the buttons and the slicks on the floor that you have to avoid, while also avoiding the geysers that randomly appear out of the ground. Another idea that we had was golf balls that you had to avoid that were moving back and forth. If you hit them, they would take 20 laps away from you. But it was also ended up decided to go with the geyser room.
Back over to one of our new rewards that are introduced with this update, which is V2.0 disguises. Now, a lot of you are probably wondering, like, what is this all about? But first, let's get into like what it takes to fully max a V2.0 disguise. Essentially, the numbers that you're seeing on screen, it's over 100 hard mode factories, 103 hard mode mints, 106 hard mode offices, and 106 cog golf courses. For comparison, the scale, that is almost on par to the original Toontown Online numbers that they wanted you to do. But keep in mind, our facilities are half the amount of time, if not more, and hopefully are a lot more fun for you guys. Now let's take a look more into like the UI of this system.
So during development, we were trying to determine where do we want to put the button that you use to upgrade to a 2.0 suit. We ended up picking this placement where it's in one of the gears below the meter where you have your merits. That was ultimately the place that we picked because it felt perfect. But we also played around with multiple different locations. So for instance, this one is in the top corner above the disguise. This one's in the top corner of the actual disguise page. This one's in the middle of the suit. And then this one's in the middle where your cog merits are. And then this one's just randomly above next to the suit. And then one of our programmers, Rush, decided to play around and have the button move around the screen like it's the DVD screen saver. It would hit the top corner if you sat there long enough. We were going to make this a very secret Easter egg, but it was ended up decided against. Additionally, we had the ideas of adding virtual disguises that you could wear when you upgraded your suit in Lawbot, since they have virtual skull cogs. As you see here, it kind of looked pretty funny. I would have loved to see this happen, but it ended up getting decided against just a regular 2.0.
Some of you are actually want to know, like, what are some of the rewards for doing all of this, right? And one of the big things for fully maxing one of your V2.0 disguises is the slick suit.
Yes.
This is for our most dedicated extreme tunes out there, and it is definitely one of the more rare outfits to obtain in game, and they know their game so well. Like, they have all, like, if you look in the back of their pocket, they have all the info they need to know about their top enemies, such as the club president and the clerk. They have fires in their pockets. They're ready to go. And a little fun fact, it's hard to see, but you'll see a stamp on their right chest, and that's actually one of our scrapped status effects, which was really cool that we were able to creatively reuse it. Now, that's not the only reward. We have Supervisor drops. Yes. Supervisor drops are a rare way, or rare to get from their respective supervisors in battle. And by upgrading your suit, you have a higher chance of getting these after defeating them, which is another incentive. Now, if you look at the top left, this is the Foreman's one, which is essentially like his hat all stitched up with patches and being just like repaired after the tunes, destroyed him in battle. He even had like an old idea of it being stomped on, but it didn't look too pretty. And actually what you're gonna notice with all of these is they're not just straight up like the supervisors, like cosmetics put on a tune, because we feel like the tunes, if they had the same style as the cogs, it's like, are they really like, as funny and goofy as they are if they love like the fun, like cold, bleak items? So they tunify it up essentially, they bedazzle it. And you see that with like the auditor, like he has his shoes and they put like coins on it, just like, again, bedazzling it. But we also had a scrapped idea of it being a backpack as well. We were originally gonna do like a suitcase that had a bunch of money in it, and then like stickers and stamps, but we did scrap it. The clerk's reward is her glasses taped back together and all, again, bedazzled. We originally had old concepts of it just being like cracked after people would use opera on her, but we did scrap that. And the club president's is her golf bag essentially, and all her dented up clubs. If that's from her or for tunes, we don't know. And again, you'll see like patches and things like that. But another scrapped cosmetic was actually sneakers for her, which had like golf ball shoelaces, but that was scrapped as well.
Oh, yes. Here they are. Here are the concepts. So we attempted to keep the process of making accessories very minimalistic due to scope. So we would rework existing assets such as the pre-existing hat and gloves you see on the left, converting them into what you see on the right. In the middle image, you can see an early concept of how we planned on converting pre-existing items into the new ones. But the backpack, we had to make it from scratch, and it went through multiple iterations. One version had the mole from the CGGs sticking out of the backpack. Sorry.
Yeah, but that was scrapped.
Yeah. Oh, yes, and these. So the symbols on the left, those are early difficulty symbols that our art director, Mike, made, Lost Hero made. We ended up going with the symbols on the top right. It was coming together, but we felt the ridges were standing out too big, like they were stickers. So we toned it down to what we have on the bottom, and we also removed the rust, and we felt very, very happy with what we got.
Now I'm going to move over to cutscene development. These were a lot trickier to make than we thought because, again, we had a couple goals we had to keep in mind. We had to make them unskippable, somewhere between 15 to 30 seconds just to keep it, succinct, essentially. And we also had to be able to tell their personality in just a very short amount of time. We had to emphasize any status effects being applied because we wanted tunes going in to know what's happening to the tunes or the cogs in the battle. So we had to make that aware in the cutscene. We also had to actually do some fun camera things. We had to keep in mind, well, there's going to be a giant chat bubble over them. So we had to keep that in mind for framing. We had to give adequate amount of time within each shot just to make sure the tunes know how to read it, or not know how, have enough time to read it. And just honestly, another goal is just making it fun. Now, I do have some of the storyboards of all of them, the original first versions of the cutscenes that we'll go through right now. And originally, it would be like the tunes walking in, going through the door, and just started running in, and they'll see the silhouette of their first ever supervisor encounter, and he's just calculating on there, doing who knows what a cog does, and being like, I run a very tight ship around here. I won't let anyone interfere with my factory, not even those pesky. Blast it, they're already here. You tunes all make the same mistake, goofing off on my time. And he just starts stomping up and down, getting an attitude, but then he would readjust himself and just say, try not to broil under the pressure. And that would essentially be it, but we did do a lot of changes. I mean, as you're aware, he's not that outgoing in his personality. We realized we kind of wanted to tone down these cogs a bit. And this was the first storyboard we made as well. And as you can see, we worked to that short fuse and expressive attitude to be more stern, and used more subtle ways to show his short fuse in this through actions rather than words. And then again, other things were scrapped entirely, like the tune entrance, because we wanted to keep it quick. So we'll move over to the auditor. And his is something more like, submit your safe count sheets to the inbox in my office by the end of the day. And the tunes will run in, and they'll see him, and he'll be like, it looks like our security's been compromised. Enough shenanigans. The market is on my side now. And you'll throw up the status effects and be like, time is money, tunes. Don't waste mine. And then the battle would start. Yeah, this was actually our first ever cutscene we've ever developed and scored, and it was very, I guess, simplistic and minimalistic turns, camera movements and things like that. Because what's interesting about this one is it takes place in different rooms, so we had to make sure the camera works in every different type of room, which is why it's a bit more minimalistic. Yeah, and also I do want to give a huge shout out to our creative media coordinator, Dixie, who actually was the one who put together all of these storyboards. So huge shout out to them and their amazing humor that comes off in these. So let's get into the office clerks. So tunes would just go in, running in, camera would fly up, and she would just be working on her book and be like, squabbling like that could only mean one thing around here. And then the tunes would just start screaming at her. They're furious. And she'd be like, silence! How did your incessant silliness bypass our security? And the cogs would fly down, and she'd be like, regardless, your insolence ends here, tunes. And then the battle would start. This one didn't change too much.
Impeccable.
Yeah. That one was great. This, as Rose said just now, this cutscene did not change much from the storyboard. The only thing we added was the clerk portrait in the back, make her looking at it so she's highlighting her sense of arrogance. And we also added a scene where the clerk insults the tunes to make the angry emote seem more natural. We kind of were deciding what insults we should use that were cog-like, and if the tune should be decided to do the angry emote. And it was ultimately decided that they would do the angry emote, and she would use either, I think it's animals or what's the other one, Ro? Because Ro really wanted this one added in game.
Actually, how I got it approved is I'm like, I really think the clerk should say varmint as an insult. And everyone's like, no, I think that's too mean. So as to prove a point, I made a new tune, named it Varmint, and it got approved. And I'm like...
Very good, bro.
So last but not least is the club president. And this one just starts off kind of like the others that we scrapped, of just the tunes walking in, getting that establishing shot, and just the Cogs would be doing boring conversations. Like, oh, this firm is finally making some headway, it's making sure to finalize their business at the banquets. And she would fly in and interrupt all of them. Like, stop puttering around and handle all these interlopers. And fly in and be like, I can't believe you let these tunes enter the country club. My country club. I'm going to give you to the count of 5 to leave the premises. And then she would apply the status effect. And that would be it.
This cutscene remained mostly consistent in regards to its content, but its shots were reorganized to make it flow better. The tunes approaching was actually cut from the cutscene to make it more brief because it was actually longer than it is currently. And this was also one of the quickest cutscenes to develop. I think we did it, in like 3 days or so. We asked people for comments and they loved it.
Oh, we got this done pretty quick. Does anyone have any feedback? No one said anything. So it was super quick to make. Yeah, people loved it. Now, to wrap up on this panel, we're going to just talk about like the logo design actually for the project. And our, again, art director, Lost Hero, aka Mike, put together all these that you see here, and we even decided on a couple different names, including like the facility update. But I think all of the directors and everyone on the team, when they saw that gear one, I think it was like right away, like we all saw that vision that you know and love in the reveal trailer of just the gear coming in and the hot stamp of new going over it. And the second we saw that, that's the one we stuck, and that's how we decided on Under New Management's logo, and that's the project. But yeah, that's all we have. Thank you all so much, and we really hope you all enjoy Under New Management. See you all in game.
See you in game, folks.
See you all in game.
Oh yeah, and I do want to give a shout out to our partner spotlight, ToonHQ, for sponsoring this panel. So thank you again so much, ToonHQ.